This part of the lab is called My Grandmother Weighs What? And that comes from the very first question you're asked about your grandmother's weight. This is sort of related to medication and just conversions in general, but there are a lot of questions in here about taking medicine. I don't know about you, but I have had a lot of experience with medicine in my own life and also taking care of my children. You pretty much cannot live in this world without having some type of medication at some point in your life. Like, I just don't know anybody that's never taken a Tylenol or an Advil or something. So most of us will use a medication at some point in time. I think I know one man in my entire life who, well, anyway, he didn't take medication towards the latter part of his life. I'll leave it at that. You need to Google these on the internet. So you need to Google 1 kilogram equals how many pounds, 1 mile equals how many kilometers, and make sure that you use 2 decimal places. Okay, this is important. So go to 2 decimal places, or I'm going to see if I can change colors with my pen. I'm going to have to take off some points. Well, not now. I'll change it later. Your grandmother weighs what? She's put on a liquid diet. This question right here, you want to come up with something that seems mathematically reasonable. Convert your height to centimeters. Okay, so remember there are 12, or I should say 1 foot is 12 inches. Now, I did not have you write that above, but you do need to know that for that particular problem. You go on a trip, you come into some money. Okay, remember, a proportion has to be set up equal tops, equal bottoms. So for this particular problem, Canada comes first. So I probably would write my Canadian dollars on the top, my US dollars on the bottom, and then on the other side, I have to set it up the exact same way. Canadian on the top, US on the bottom. Now, I'll be honest, you could have reversed those as long as you have US and US on the top and Canadian on the bottom. Here's another question. You're converting kilometers to hours. And so notice that this, in Canada, they count their time in hours, and we also count our time in hours. So you don't have to convert the hours. All you're trying to convert is the kilometers to miles, okay? Because we both use hours as our time. You wake up with a fever. Let's keep going. You don't feel good. Now let's go to number 6. You end up in the hospital. The doctor orders you 120 milligrams of medicine to be given twice a day. Okay, so let's assume here you're going to take some in the morning, which this is reasonable, and then you're going to also take another dose at night. That's important. The nurse brings 6 tablets, and she tells you that there are 30 milligrams in each tablet. Is this correct for the morning dosage? Now, I'm not talking about for the all-day dosage, but for your morning dosage, is that correct? Why or why not? And again, here, this is asking you about your morning dosage. Your morning dosage. Number 7, while you're in the hospital, your doctor writes an order for an antibiotic, which is 300 milligrams per kilogram per day. You're nervous because they've been wrong in the past. You need to convert your weight to kilograms. Now, your weight was given in pounds. I probably would set this up pounds to kilograms. And then on the other side, I'm going to have pounds to kilograms as well. Determine how many milligrams the doctor recommends for you. Well, the doctor recommends 300 milligrams for every kilogram. That's important. And then you're going to convert kilograms. So you're going to take this answer that you get in part 2, and you're going to convert that answer to a gram. Okay? That says grams, not games. Let's move on. Number 8, due to severe pain, the doctor gives you some pain medicine every 6 hours. You hear the nurse say that the medication is in 200. How many should you take an hour? Okay, number 9. The doctor finally figures out what is wrong. The orders for 20 milligrams of medicine. The nurse walks in with a liquid and asks to see the bottle. I need to correct that. There's a typo right there. But the nurse asks you ask the nurse to see the bottle, basically. It has 100 milligrams of medicine per 15 milliliters of liquid. 100 milligrams of medicine per. Now, remember, we've already talked about this. Per means to divide. So you could take 100 milligrams divided by 15 milliliters, and that would tell you the milligrams per 1 milliliter. And the last one, number 10. This one is challenging. It's number 10. Read it really carefully. But you have a child that gets sick. If you have a child in your home, you are responsible for taking care of their medication. That's part of your parental duties. The doctor prescribes 150 milligrams of penicillin every 6 hours. Your child weighs 30 pounds. So the first thing we need to do is we need to convert that to kilograms, because again, it's given 40 milligrams every kilogram. Okay, so this is dosed according to the number of kilograms your child weighs, not the number of pounds. Determine a safe dosage for his or her weight based on the above research. Determine the dosage prescribed by the doctor. Now, your doctor is prescribing this particular situation right here, 150 milligrams every 6 hours. That may not be accurate. That's what we're trying to figure out. Is your doctor's prescription appropriate for your child? And so you have to determine that. It's a yes or no question. And then how many milligrams is it over or under for your child's weight? This is really important. I'll just tell you a brief little story. My son, when he was 2, he had an allergic reaction, and they gave him prescribed Tylenol with codeine. Well, I was a first-time parent, so, I just didn't have a lot of experience. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the prescription was in teaspoons. Well, I accidentally misread it as tablespoon. And if you know anything about measurements, a tablespoon is a lot larger than a teaspoon. So I gave my child, I can't remember the exact specifics, but a tablespoon versus a teaspoon. And the child slept for like 24 hours. Now, mind you, he's 2 years old. That's not normal for a 2-year-old. He did not turn over. He did not wake up for food. He did not wake up to have his diaper changed. He did not move for 24 hours. Well, I changed his diapers and took care of him, but he was not like awake. And so the next day, this went on for a 24-hour period, time to give him the medicine again. My husband's like, I just feel like something's not right. Well, come to find out, I had overdosed my own child with Tylenol with codeine. And if you know anything about that, it's strong. And I had overdosed him and basically knocked him out. And it was my fault. It wasn't the doctor's fault. It wasn't the pharmacist's fault. It was my fault. But you have to be careful about medication. I take a lot of medicine right now, and you better believe I research that stuff to make sure it's appropriate, to make sure that I'm taking the right amount. You don't want to have too much. You don't want to have too little. A lot of medicine depends on your weight. So maybe me and my husband for example, we both take cholesterol medication, but he weighs a lot more than me. So his dosage may be different than mine, even though we're taking the same medicine for the same issue. I'm just using that as an example. So good luck. I love this lab, and I hope that at some point in time you find it useful.